What's up, y'all? So, I've been hearing a lot about this Eboni K Williams situation, breaking up with her fiance because he decided to quarantine with his children rather than quarantine with her. And I guess she made the specification that they were semi-adult children. I'm not really sure what that means. I'm assuming they're teenagers, but it's very striking, and it says a lot about who she is as a human being. But at the same time, this isn't an isolated thing. This isn't like my first time hearing that, and it's odd that that you're not hearing more about this, especially from the female community, knocking her for these comments and for what she said. I don't really hear a lot of women coming out and saying, "Hey, yo, what's wrong with you? Like, what's the problem?" So it leads me to believe that this has been somewhat okayed. But one of the things I find strange about this is that typically women with children, when they're in the dating sphere, they make it a point to tell men, "Look, my children are number one. No one comes before my children. If you can't understand that, then you can kick rocks. I don't have time for you. You need to come in there with the understanding." Gotta respect it. Gotta respect that. Parent first, right? They didn't ask to be here, so therefore, you have to make them a priority. They're dependent on you. Hey, and that's an honorable stance to have. For some reason, it's okay for a woman to come into a man's life who has children and to tell him, "Nope, I need to be the most important thing in your life." And no one seems to have an issue with that. And this isn't the first time that I've heard this. I've heard this from friends who are now grown, who experience, their father, their parents splitting up and their father ending up with another woman, and that other woman making it very clear that there needed to be a choice made about how frequently he spends his time with children that came from a relationship outside of the new relationship. And these people told me that their fathers chose their new family, and because of this woman, or because of the new woman. And so I don't understand why more women aren't coming out, because it takes women to because if a guy says it, it just kind of gets swept under the rug or gets ignored. But more women need to speak about this. And the fact that they don't gives fuel to the red pill community. The red pill community, that are advising men to stay away from women, abstain from women, to the extreme degrees. And then, some of them that are more moderate tend to think, okay, well, just don't take any shit from women. And this being one of those things. And so by women not saying anything about Eboni K Williams' stance, it gives the red pill community fuel to say, see, women are toxic. Stay away from it. And that's not good for relationships in general. I'm not anti-red pill. I think it's a little bit extreme. I think there's some value in some of the things that they say. But I also understand the importance of relationships. And I think in order for us to have better relationships, we have to be willing to come out and say, look, where wrong is wrong in every stance, whether it's for men or whether it's for women. And what we're doing right now, everyone's riding for their set. It's like politics. If you're a Democrat, anything that comes out of a Republican's mouth, we gotta shut it down. If you're a Republican, anything that comes out of a Democratic person's mouth, we gotta shut it down. But we're ignoring whether that person has a point or not, and we're only riding coming up against them just because it came from that person, even if the idea makes sense. So we have to get away from that. If we want to have decent relationships that benefit not just the individuals involved, but the community, because if we have better relationships at home, then we can get out into the social situations and get out into the world and be better. With all relationships that involve men and women. So, saying all that to say, women, you got to speak out more about when women do things that are out of pocket. And if you don't do that, then all you're doing is fueling the fire, whether with your silence. So let's all do better.